For the first question for the floor, how will I win the trust and confidence of patients as a youngster with so many seniors practicing around me? Dr. Grover, sir, I think you're the senior most here. We would like to start from your opinion on this.
Senior does not always mean more experienced. I think you should start with your many advantages. You people are better trained. You are most often specialized, have done fellowships. So you have a great knowledge base. Most of you have a very good setup and a lot of equipment available to you. You have the ability to give more time to your patients, unlike your senior colleagues who may be more busy, who may have appointments which are more difficult to get. And most important, you people have a better communication ability. I think Dr. Mehta has stressed that very well. And you can leverage that. You can talk well to the patients, take a lot more time convincing them, explaining things to them. But the single most important factor that you can do, that you can use to your advantage is developing the right kind of link, or let's say the link of empathy with your patient. If you have a genuine feeling for the patient, if you really want to care for them, if you're really caring for them, and that is conveyed in your body language, in your expressions, in your talk, in the way you behave with them, they genuinely appreciate that, and they would never leave you once they've come to you. So of course, how they come to you is a different matter. You would have you people are better at the digital marketing, at being better known by way of all those media that are now available to you. So that could be the starting point. But how you link, how you let's say become a part of patients' mind process, thought process with your empathy for them, that is what is going to really matter. And I think you people can leverage that advantage very well because you have the time, you have the communication skills.
Dr. Rishi, sir, your opinion on this question?
Actually, I relate to this question very well because I joined my father's practice, who had a very long and successful practice in Hyderabad. And when I joined him, even though I had a good stint at LV Prasad, nobody wanted to show me initially. Everybody wanted to show him. I'm sure there are others here who have or will face similar situations. So what I'll tell you what worked for me was basically, if you know your stuff, it reflects in the way you're talking to your patient. So basically, you have to have a proper knowledge base. And when you're talking to to your patient, you have to talk with confidence such that you're able to convince the patient that you know what you're talking about. And of course, you have to give them time, especially the patients that need time. You have to give them that little extra time to explain to them what their condition is, what are their options, and what management you think is right for them. Maybe you use some visual aids, draw some drawings. So if you spend time and explain to them, and if your body language is such that they understand that you know your stuff, even though you are young, I think they will choose to continue with you and may not drift to the senior ophthalmologists around you.
That's great. Somashela ma'am, your experience as an institutional practice, like of course you're training so many young fellows. So how would you deal with such a situation? What would you tell the youngsters?
So it just reminds me of when I had first started out. I was young once. What used to happen was my very senior colleague, Dr. Sangwan, was in the OR opposite mine, and I would have a very small list in less than 10, and he would have a massive list. I would always despair that how would I get more cases and how would I get more patients. So I think it's a little bit of what Dr. Grover and Rishi has already said. So one is that you must, of course, know you should be skilled. Second is that you do need to spend a lot more chair time initially. And as Dr. Grover said, you may have that initially anyway to spend. And I think the third thing is that one good thing we find about patients is that they're very impressed by young people who seem to know their stuff. So they will come to you, and they also want you to take care of them. So they perceive that you're young, but you're very capable. So a lot of honesty is required, and you should be true to yourself. So if you don't think you can handle that case, I think it's better early that, don't, just because you think that the patient will go to our senior or something. So for that reason, don't try to operate on a patient who you don't think you can handle. So you should be confident in what you're doing, and only then take up that case. So my top tip would be that take up cases which you're skilled with, so you can explain to the patient very well. More chair time, and difficult cases, don't start off with them.
So Dr. Shreyas, sir, the tip from ma'am, take positive cases only initially. What's your take on that?
I had a slightly different experience. 2014, when I joined Eye Foundation after finishing from LVP, I joined a group where there were a lot of senior consultants around. Not just my father or anybody, but a large number of people. So it was important not just to win the confidence of your patients, but I felt it was also important to win the confidence of senior colleagues your sisters, staff, everyone around you. And that happened because of two reasons, or it has happened, or is still happening because of two reasons. One is, of course, the way you communicate with them. I definitely I think, in a way, I mean, being friendly with everyone, trying your best to ensure that you are having a good relationship, good equation with each of your surrounding staff members reflects a lot, because that is something they carry forward outside your confines of your consultation room to the patients outside. And they generally put in a good word, and that's when patients start feeling they can come in. So I think communication extends beyond our own consultation room. And the second thing I felt was in taking up, doing something a little different than what other consultants are already doing at your place. Which was what helped in getting cross referrals from our own consultants within our institute and other branches. And I must thank LBP for that, for providing me with the training, be it something in ocular surface, be it keratoprosthesis or other procedures, which were not being done very commonly before I joined. So something different, doing one or two, it may not be the bulk of things. The bulk of things which you do will still be cataract, maybe refractive surgery. But doing a few extra cases, I think, helped in ensuring that there was a little bit of respect which grew for you, not just for the way you talk alone, but also for the academic and surgical background that you have. And that, I think, overall helped in garnering a small share of patients for yourself.
Right. Dr. Himanshu, sir, your opinion?
I think, as Dr. Grover and they mentioned so beautifully, that you have the biggest advantage in life with you. Case Beer told me that when I was doing my residency, I met him. Case Beer was the RK guy, the most famous. He says, Doc, you don't know what you have in with you, the energy of the youth. He was just at a fag end of a career, and he was still propagating his RK surgery before eczema came into the world. And what he said was exactly what everybody is saying here, that you have to be extremely positive. Let's digest one thing. All the negative feeling that you have as a youthful person, that how will my practice be, whatever, all those dots will get connected somewhere. All of us who are the other side of the screen have started like that. A lot of insecurity, not knowing what to do, where to invest, where to go, when to start, which patients to approach. Things start filling up. But as mentioned by everyone, knowledge, having a great knowledge base is very, very important, that you make yourself very sure of the techniques that you know. Do something different, you should be giving a little more. But communicating that to your patients, and empathy. Dr. Grover, remember, from a score of 1 to 100, 1 to 99, what the patient wants is empathy. I remember Dr. Ramamurthy Senior had spoken to me. We were together in a conference, and he said so well. He said that patients who even had end off were extremely grateful to you because you spent time with them. You explained to them, you had an empathy with them. And some of the best patients, you're doing very well, 20/20 with N5 vision, and they can see everything, can be nasty if you're not spent that little question answer session. That why am I doing this? Why these circles are coming? If you kind of neglect for half a minute, they just feel extremely irritated about that. So it's absolutely important that you spend time, empathy, however irritated you are. You feel like slapping them, control yourself, smile. You have to answer those questions and queries. It's very important. And at times, remember, at young stage, you tend to depend on optometrists and counselors to counsel patients. But the counselor, in getting that little extra amount, might just give some wrong idea to the patient. So remove that understanding and reduce the expectation. The whole game in counseling is to get the upper hand on the patient's side, so that they don't, because the society as such right now is seeing doctors in a negative frame. So you have to come out from them, give them that you know your stuff, you are good, you're not only after money. Money comes incidentally. No doctor here attending this or in the whole country is after money. But unfortunately, the society is taking it. The first thing that all doctors want is money. Nobody has made $1 billion here in this medical industry. So tell them that you are not selling lenses. Tell them you are not selling any technology. You are here as a simple doctor, making and giving them the best possible results. And something, that empathy factor, and let them identify. Let me give you the secret of that Mr. Bachchan in KBC. What do you think makes him so amenable to the crowd? Do you think anybody remembers those questions and answers? Anybody has done that homework to get all those answers? But still, over the years, people watch KBC. You know why? Because he's got that common string in him. He lets people, he identifies himself with the people, with the family. We'll talk further, very important. When you're talking to the family, you will find there is one person who is the decision maker. That is the person who is read up on Google, who has found out from 10 other people, and everybody looks into their eyes. Now identify that person in a group of 5 people and talk to them and make them understand. So this is what you have. The greatest thing, the ability is to communicate with your smile and your enterprise. You can Google show, you can show something immediately, and that is what is very important. You have a lot of positive things to deal with, rather than a burden of any other bad things.